We've learned more about a former Northwest Iowa hospital nurse accused of intentionally overdosing patients. As we first told you on Tuesday, court documents show 36-year-old Rachel Martinez of Peterson faces 6 charges, including 4 counts of wanton neglect of a dependent adult by a caregiver. The 2 other counts are drug-related. Court documents allege that while Martinez worked as a nurse at the Spencer Hospital in November of 2022, she administered hydrocodone to a patient 3 times in 5 hours. The drug was supposed to be given to the patient just once every 4 hours. The same patient was administered another painkiller, tramadol, 4 times in 7 hours. That drug was supposed to be given to the patient once every 6 hours. That case is one of 6 complaints filed against Martinez. In response to the allegations against Martinez, the Spencer Hospital released a statement. In it, a hospital spokesperson says Martinez worked as a contract nurse assigned to the hospital for just 4 weeks in 2022. She was employed by Aya Healthcare, a staffing agency that provided travel nurses to hospitals in Iowa and in other states. The spokesperson said, quote, "Through the hospital's continuous quality monitoring, hospital personnel identified concerns and addressed those issues with the individual and her employer promptly, ending her assignment at the hospital."